Today, I want to share with you my experience as a Christian with manifesting and the law of attraction. If sometimes you feel like manifesting is very empowering, and then other times it's a little bit like pressure or uncomfortable, this conversation is for you. So many times manifesting comes up in conversations lately, but it's actually not new. It's been around for years and years, but it's taken on a lot of different names. For example, we have resonance, mind science, metaphysics, new thought, creative visualization, power of positive thinking, Silva method, positive confession, word of faith, and so many more. And it has been promoted by many different people through the years, such as Napoleon Hill, Wallace Watts, Zig Ziglar, Jerry Hicks, Norman Vincent Peale, Rhonda Byrne, who wrote The Secret. And on the Christian side, we have Kenneth Hagin, Kenneth Copeland, John Osteen, and Robert Schuller, to name a few. All the different names and the different people, it all kind of has the same premise and principles to it. That is that your thoughts have power. And if you think things with clarity and enough intention, you can create your own reality. You can be the master of your destiny. And whatever is in your life is attracted to you by the thoughts and the intentions that you have and the words that you speak. When I first was interested in manifesting, I was a teenager in the military, on another continent, so far away from home, lonely and very unhappy. I was a pretty nominal Christian at that point and had a basic understanding of the Bible, but not a lot more. And I heard that I could change all the unpleasant circumstances in my life by my own mind. Well, I jumped in with both feet. I absolutely wanted to dream up and create a better life for myself. It was very empowering and encouraging and exciting at first. But I had a challenge. Challenge number one. It was that people were telling me that the situations that I had in my life were my fault. They were a result of my lack of intention of what I really wanted and moving in that direction. And if I really wanted things to be differently, they would be. So this added a lot of guilt and heaviness to my already miserable existence. Well, I tried hard, but things weren't changing. I thought maybe I just wasn't doing it right, or maybe I really didn't know what my heart really longed for, or simply I just didn't know how to do it right. So after challenge number one of feeling guilt and shame because I couldn't change my life and I had created an unhappy one, the second challenge I faced was just not understanding how to apply the rules to make it work out the way it's promised. How could I tap into the secret to make it all come together? Here's a quote from the Law of Attraction. It says, "If you think properly, it, the law of attraction, will feed, clothe, protect, guide, and provide for you if you let it." I didn't understand how to let it properly, apparently. So I started reading a lot of books, which led me into different directions, like Wicca and eventually witchcraft. All of these books, whether it's law of attraction, manifesting, creative thought, visualization, all the things, and Wicca and witchcraft, they all had the same language. It was very interesting to me, so I thought somehow they were all connected, which turns out they kind of are in a lot of ways. So as much as I was trying, nothing was changing, just more confusion. So here's the question. If the universe is created by a thought, as is quoted by the books, whose thought? Certainly, apparently wasn't mine, because mine weren't very effective. But there had to be a thinker in order to have a thought. And I wrestled with the fact that laws are laws only because they always work, like the law of gravity. So I was wondering, is it working for anyone else? Is anyone else getting exactly what they are manifesting? If we could manifest immense wealth and health, I wondered why Wallace Wattles, the foundation person of the law of attraction, had died at age 51. And why Napoleon Hill spent the last 18 years of his life in a nursing home and he died penniless. Or Jerry Hicks, who died of leukemia. Things didn't seem to be adding up to me, but I did not want to give up. I loved the idea of being able to create my own life the way I wanted it and to get out of the one that I didn't like. And here I was faced with challenge number 3, other people's desires. So what if I wanted something, but someone else wanted it also, or that person didn't want it for me? Would it be my intentions or another person? Whose mental power would win out? Things like this were very confusing to me, and I wanted to understand more. So this is what the law of attraction says. The law of attraction is always present and always listening, assuming all you think and speak is what you want. It is there to serve you. But what if what I want contradicts what someone else wants? I don't know the answer to that. But Rhonda Byrne, in her book, The Secret, says, the earth turns on its orbit for you. The ocean ebbs and flows for you. The birds sing for you. The sun rises and it sets for you. None of it can exist without you. No matter who you thought you were, now you know the truth, who you really are. You are the master of the universe. Last time I noticed there were 7 billion people in this planet, and so are we all masters of the universe? Did we all create the universe or the life that we have in this beautiful land we live in? It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. So that leads me to my final challenge. Challenge number 4 was when I started wrestling with the basic principles that I had learned as a child about the Bible. The sovereignty of God and His will and His power to create. And I thought, what if all the pressure that I felt for several years trying to make my life what I wanted it to be, what if everything that happened wasn't really, all that pressure wasn't mine to carry? And what if the things in my life that I thought were bad were working something really good in my life, like empathy and strength and perseverance? What if I didn't have to carry all the weight and I could entrust myself to one who has proven through the millennia to be all powerful and all compassionate and all wise? That felt like rest to me after so many years of wrestling. What if I didn't have to be the captain of my universe, but I could just be a beloved, provided for and cared for daughter of God? And that's when struggle started to give way in me to sweet surrender. As I pondered verses that I had known as a child, like when Jesus says before He goes to the cross to die for the sins of the world, not my will, but your will be done, Father. And what about Romans 8 that says, all things work together for good for those who love God and are called to His purposes? Or Jeremiah 29:11 that says, God says, I know the thoughts I have for you and the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you a future and a hope. God's ways are so high above our ways, how can we know them? But He's got it all planned out. And Matthew 6, when he says, when the Lord is teaching us to pray, and he says, pray this way, your will be done, God. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, not mine. Proverbs 16:9 also says, man plans his ways, but the Lord establishes his steps. All of our steps throughout all of my life, I could look back and see God had orchestrated all those to get me to a place where he wanted me to be, so that I would be miserable enough to get sick of things and to call out to him and surrender my life to him. And that's where I was. And it was a wonderful place to be in. James chapter 4 also talks about, he says, we don't even know if tomorrow we're going to be here. So we should say, if the Lord wills, we'll go to this place and we'll do this or that. We don't want to be declaring and demanding the universe to do what our will is, because we are not powerful or wise enough to know what is best. To me, it was a sweet relief to be able to pass over the reins of the universe back to someone who was able to actually take care of it all. And learning more about God and attending a Bible teaching church really helped me to release the stress of trying to get my life perfect. And placing my faith back in God and my trust in God, and not in my faith or my intentions or my ability to make things happen, but in God himself, gave me peace that I had been really longing for. I know it's hard to let go of the hope of the dreams coming true, and maybe the financial relief that you might be longing for, or a better job, or a spouse, or a partner you could share your life with, or a wonderful home on the beach somewhere that's beautiful and comfortable. I know all those things are so tempting, but surrendering our lives to God for his use, and knowing that even though our lives are hard and maybe not so comfortable or wealthy, they will still be fulfilling and fruitful. And that is by only one thing: having a relationship with God through Jesus Christ. And if you want to know more about that, please read the description below, or reach out to me or someone you know that has a relationship with Jesus. What would it be like if you didn't have to carry all the pressure and the responsibility of making your life a certain way, but you could let God carry you instead? God may not give us $1 million or a house on the beach or all we could ever dream of, but all those things are really temporary, and they don't ultimately satisfy the deep longings of our heart, which can only be satisfied by our Creator and having a close relationship with him. So here is my conclusion. We are to think positively. The Bible says we are to think on the things that are pure and lovely and praiseworthy, whatever is good and noble and right. We are to think about wonderful possibilities for our future and the things that will bring us joy. But we are also not to be afraid of the hard times, and not to shun them, and not to only want the good things, because someone else is in charge, and that someone loves you and knows you better than you know yourself, and longs to take care of you. Sometimes that means taking our hand and walking through a valley of hardships and suffering and pain. But please know that you're not alone. Reach out to the Lord, call out to Jesus, and he will help you. He will sustain you. And if you can surrender that longing to be in power, the longing to be in charge of our own lives, if you can surrender it to God, you will find what you're looking for. I guarantee it, because I have experienced the very same thing, and I know so many other people that have as well. So I hope you enjoyed this little look, this journey through my experience with manifesting, and I hope it is giving you some things to think about. And please let me know what your thoughts are, And thank you so much for listening.